Today, we're jetting off into the world of airports, often kind of overlooked, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. We just see them as, places to get through.
Right.
But our source for this, the SkyTalks, the World of Airports podcast, it really shows how diverse and honestly fascinating they could be.
It really does. So our mission here is to sort of pull out the best bits, the really surprising stuff from their chat. Basically a shortcut to knowing more about these travel hubs.
Right, a distillation of their deep dive. So where did SkyTalks start things off? What makes an airport stand out?
Well, they jumped right into what makes an airport impressive, and it's more than just being big.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, they use Doha's Hamad International as a prime example. It's not just about moving people efficiently. It's about creating an actual experience.
Yeah, it sounds like they thought it was almost more like a luxury resort. I mean, they mentioned a huge teddy bear sculpture
Mm.
and high-end shopping, loads of art, even a swimming pool and a gym. It makes you think, why go to all that trouble?
Well, that's the thing. It's not just for looks. Airports like Doha and SkyTalks also brought up Singapore Changi.
Oh, yeah, Changi.
They're
Yeah.
really competing, especially for those long layovers. If you have a good experience, you or the airline are more likely to choose that route. It's big business.
Right, right. And Changi, the host sounded totally blown away. A butterfly garden. Seriously.
Uh-huh.
A rooftop pool, a movie theater. And that jewel thing with the massive indoor waterfall, it kind of breaks your idea of what an airport is.
It does. And what SkyTalks really drove home is this shift. You could genuinely spend a whole day exploring inside these places.
Like mini cities, almost?
Exactly. Self-contained, lots to do.
Okay, so those are the really flashy ones. But SkyTalks also got into some surprising facts, stuff most people wouldn't know.
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. Like Chicago O'Hare, they mentioned it has the most active runways, 8 of them.
8. Wow, that just sounds complex, managing all that traffic.
Yeah. It really does. It highlights the sheer scale of operations at a major hub like that. You can see why it's one of the busiest for takeoffs and landings.
Makes sense.
But then, for passenger numbers, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta usually comes out on top.
Ah, right.
And SkyTalks explained that's largely because it's such a huge domestic hub in the U.S. That hub and spoke model means tons of people connecting through there.
It's funny how location and airline strategy shape all that, but then they mentioned something completely different. Gibraltar Airport.
Oh, yeah, that one's wild. It's all about geography, isn't it? The fact that a main road literally crosses the runway.
You seriously?
Yeah, traffic has to stop for planes. It's just this incredible adaptation because they just don't have the space. Pretty unique solution.
Imagine explaining that delay. Sorry, boss, got held up by a 737. Okay, so moving from facts to feelings, SkyTalks also shared some personal airport stories, right? The chaotic side.
They did. And these really bring home the human element, the unpredictable stuff. Maya, one of the hosts, talked about getting stuck in Istanbul during a massive snowstorm.
Oh, wow. That sounded intense. The whole airport basically became a giant makeshift shelter. People sleeping on floors, luggage belts.
Yeah, pretty crazy. It shows how quickly things can grind to a halt with bad weather and the huge challenge for the airport staff.
Definitely. And the other host, Jake, he had an 8-hour delay in Newark. But he found something good out of it.
He did. He stumbled upon some hidden massage chairs. It's kind of funny finding those little comforts when everything else is going wrong.
You need those small wins during a long delay. And, oh, they both mentioned getting lost in Charles de Gaulle in Paris.
Right. I think a lot of people can relate to that one. It looks impressive, apparently, but finding your way around can be a bit of a maze.
Yeah, beautiful puzzle, maybe.
These kinds of stories, though, they resonate, don't they? Most of us who travel have our own airport tales, good, bad, or just places where so many journeys overlap.
Absolutely. And speaking of unique, SkyTalks then went into some really weird airports, places with features that are just out there.
Courchevel Airport came up in the French Alps.
Yeah. What's its deal?
Well, according to SkyTalks, it has this incredibly short runway, and it's sloped, like steeply sloped.
Whoa. That sounds tricky.
Very. Requires a lot of skill from the pilots. And get this no-control tower.
No tower. How does that even work?
Purely visual approaches and landings. Pilots have to make the call entirely by sight. It's pretty demanding stuff.
Wow. Okay. And then there was Princess Juliana Airport.
Yeah.
In St. Martin.
Ah, the famous one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's known for something totally different. The planes coming in super low right over Moho Beach.
Right. The host said people actually hang out there to get blasted by the jet wash from departing planes.
It's become this, bizarre tourist attraction shows how airports sometimes have these really strained relationships with their surroundings.
It really does paint a picture of all the different challenges airports face, terrain, weather, even tourism, I guess.
Exactly. Which kind of leads naturally into thinking about the future, doesn't it? SkyTalks also looked ahead at trends in airport design and tech.
Okay, yeah. What did they see coming? Automation, I assume.
Oh, definitely. That was a big one. They talked about facial recognition, speeding up boarding, automated bag drops becoming more standard.
Makes sense. Less queuing.
Right. And even AI customer service bots helping people out. It's all geared towards making things smoother, faster.
And hopefully less stressful. What about being greener? Sustainability.
Yeah, that's huge too. SkyTalks highlighted Oslo Airport. Apparently, they use collected snow to help cool the terminal in the summer.
Snow. That's clever. Using the local climate like that.
Really clever. It's a great example of airports trying to find more sustainable ways to operate. Big focus now.
Good to hear. And beyond the tech and the green stuff, did they mention anything about just how airports feel?
They did. There's this trend, they said, moving away from those kind of dull gray terminals.
Thank goodness.
Right. Towards spaces that actually focus on, well, wellness. More natural light, green spaces inside, incorporating local art and culture. Trying to make them more welcoming, less sterile.
That sounds much better. Making the airport itself part of a positive travel experience, not just a place you endure.
Exactly. Recognizing that it's often the first and last impression someone has of a city or country.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it's really clear airports are way more than just buildings where planes park. They're these incredibly complex places.
Yeah, hubs of innovation, logistical marvels, stages for millions of personal stories, and constantly evolving too.
They really reflect so much global connection, tech progress, even our changing ideas about travel and the environment.
Definitely.
So thinking about all this, how airports have gone from just basic transit points to these amenity-packed places and with all the new tech coming, what aspect of flying do you think will change the most in the next, say, 10 or 20 years?